It's Jeff here with another 5-Minute Murder. This week we are going to pick a card out of the deck. If you guys didn't get a chance, this week I was also on a podcast called Murder Metal Mayhem. If you haven't had a chance, go check that out. We did an episode on this guy right here, John Christie, and I was one of the guest hosts on that show. So make sure you check it out, give it some listens, and support those guys. They're awesome. Pete Altieri and his crew. All right, tonight we have the Iceman, Richard Kuklinski. All right, I'm going to press play. Not play, but I'm going to press start on the timer. Give us 5 minutes, and then we're going to go. All right, so it says, Richard Kuklinski, born April 11th, 1935, died March 5th, 2006, was a serial criminal and murderer. He ran a burglary ring and distributed pirated pornography. He was a mafia hitman and has been implicated in the assassination of Paul Castellano. He lived with his wife and children in New Jersey, in a New Jersey suburb of Dumont. They knew him as a loving father and husband who provided for his family, but one who also had a violent temper and was physically abusive to his wife. His family stated that they were unaware of his crimes. He was given the moniker the Iceman by authorities because he had frozen the body of one of his victims in an attempt to disguise the time of death. All right. So Richard Kuklinski, very, very interesting character and very infamous in the world of the mafia. Of course, Kuklinski is not Italian, right? So he could never be part of the mafia. But he was definitely able to be a hitman for them and was actually quite useful because since he was not part of the mafia, they could hire him outside of that, and then the other mafia families wouldn't know, right? So he was used in a lot of different killings. Just mentioned there the Paul Castellano hit, which was spearheaded by John Gotti, of course. And John Gotti was trying to get control of the Gambino crime family and used Kuklinski and several other people. It wasn't just Kuklinski. There was actually a team of hitmen that took out Paul Castellano at the steakhouse, right? Gunned him down in his car. But Richard Kuklinski, there is talk of him having over 200 kills. He went on all these hits. There's several documentaries about him, which are fascinating, where they interview him. He talks about all of his crimes and, in graphic detail, some of them. Like, for example, when he talks about leaving the guy in the cave and letting the rats eat him as he watches the video of that happening, because he videoed all of it. Just a lot of crazy stories. Are all of them true? Probably not. This guy is also a criminal. He's a liar. And, he told lots of tall tales. Do I think he was part of the Castellano hit? Yeah, I think he probably was. He was also really involved with, Roy DeMeo. That's who I was trying to think of. So they had kind of competing status, but DeMeo, of course, was a made man. He was definitely Italian, and DeMeo would often contract out, or if you believe what Kuklinski says, he would contract out to Kuklinski. They talk about him and the Mr. Softy guy, right? And I can't remember his name right now. Somebody in the comments will let me know. I can't remember his name, but he's the one supposedly that taught Kuklinski about the cyanide mist that he would use to, whether it was the mist that he used to spray in people's faces and they would drop dead, or he would put the cyanide in their food and they would eat it and they would die from that. So he did that quite a bit. So my own personal history with good old Kuklinski, he was not that far from where I grew up, right in New Jersey. He was doing most of his crimes when I was a kid, or a little bit before that, when just before I was born. And so, my dad ran in similar circles, right? And so my dad knew Angelo Bruno, Angelo Bruno was killed in 1981. And when they killed him, it was again Gotti who, or at least we believe it was Gotti who wanted control of Atlantic City. So they killed Angelo Bruno. They shotgunned him in his car. There's a very famous picture of him with his mouth hanging open. And you wonder if, Gotti had already used Kuklinski to kill Paul Castellano all those years before, would he have not done the same thing to get rid of the boss of Philadelphia and use Kuklinski again? I don't know that to be true. Kuklinski never said that he did that, but I wonder, you wonder if he was used during things like that, which would have brought him very, very close to home for me, because my dad was hanging out with Angelo Bruno about 3 weeks before he was killed. All right. There we go. Figure out how to stop that thing. All right, guys. That is Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman. And try to keep it at 5 minutes. Where are we at now? We're going to be about 7 minutes. They all mess with me and say that it's not 5-minute murder. It's 7.5-minute murder. Well, that's okay, because you just get more murder. Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? Who doesn't like more murder? That's why you guys watch this show. So, yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We'll have another 5-minute murder or 7.5-minute murder for you next week. And come and tune in. Check it out. Check out my show on Roku, too. If you get a chance, check that out. It's Serial Killers Around the World, and where we do a bunch of deep dives. I'm in the same set right here. But we do a deep dive, an hour plus, on a serial killer, an international serial killer. So somebody that we don't typically talk about here in the U.S., and so we have fun doing that. So come and check it out. Up there right now, I believe that they have the Andre Chikatilo episode. So check that out. Check out my game. Go pick it up, ScorpionLairGames.com. And yeah, check out Killers and all the other products we have. Thank you guys.